Let's begin with Concacaf Champions League, and we kick things off with our in-studio coverage, Match Day Live with Club Leon playing host to Toronto FC. The first time we saw TFC in a competitive match since November 2020. And they walk away with the 1-1 draw. They do end up getting that crucial away goal. And Gareth, when you look at the way the game went down, would you say that they were lucky to walk away with that draw, or would you say that it was an earned result?
Earned result, definitely, no doubt in my mind. Look, Club Leon is a very good team. They're the Mexican champions right now, and Toronto FC, without a number of players, had to be a little bit pragmatic, but I still think that they stuck to Chris Armas's principles and what he's been preaching over the course of the time since he was hired. The counter press or the press led to Toronto FC's goal, an own goal, albeit a wonderful goal by Navarro was the only time that Alex Bono was beaten on the night. I think that TFC showed how strong they are in terms of the back four. No Chris Mavinga, but Zavaleta stepped up and stepped in. Fullbacks were excellent. Central midfield, all kinds of depth and talent in that position. And the game only really changed after an hour when some players started to go off injured for Toronto FC, when really it started to sink in that this was the first game of the season. But I thought they were tactically in it. The compete levels were there. I thought that the mentality was right from the group, and they earned that 1-1 draw. There's absolutely zero doubt about that.
Yeah, I think they were lucky, to be honest with you. I don't think you can deny that there was luck at play there. I just don't think that the luck necessarily detracts from the good aspects of the performance. And there were encouraging aspects, but you have to recognize that there were several clear, glaring missed chances from Leon. And the TFC goal was a huge deflection, right? It was an enormous slice of luck for Gallardo's pass to end up in the back of the net. So there was luck at play, but you have to contextualize that with the fact that the expectations were very, very low for TFC in this game. No one expected them to get a result here. No one really expected them to be in this tie in the way that they are. And they did a lot of good things in terms of, especially the defensive side of the game, to start to buy into what Chris Armas has been trying to get across to them and to give themselves a fighting chance. Did that take a little bit of luck to stay in it? Yes, I think it did. But in a way, they maybe earned some of that luck with the commitment levels, with the effort levels. The fact that there was always a body between, the Leon player and the goal. They made the chances as difficult as they could be, but the chances were there. And I think Leon will be kicking themselves that they're not in front in this tie.
Yeah, but look, Toronto FC did their job. They did what they had to do. I don't think there was luck involved. I think it was about game plan commitment. I love the fact that still in the 90th minute, Michael Bradley's pushing forward. He's right on top of the 18-yard box. They did what they have to do. Sure. Not every game is going to be a masterpiece that's played, but I think it's a little bit disingenuous, and it doesn't tell the full story by saying they got lucky. That simply isn't the case.
Well, they did a good job in the circumstances, but they did a good job in the circumstances, but luck was clearly there. Come on, there were some open goals being missed, and as I said, Gallardo's goal, massive slice of luck.
Well, and I think another reason why maybe a lot of people didn't expect a lot from TFC was not just the fact that they hadn't played since November, but they were entering this with a lot of injuries to key players. There was no Pozuelo, there was no Mavinga, there was no Osorio. Sure. And then in the game as well, Ollie, we ended up seeing JOzy Altidore, who was looking good in this game, looking fit, running around everywhere, pulls up. It appears to be a hamstring injury. But if you just look at the player personally, what do you think this just means for him?
It's really bad news and a really tough break for JOzy Altidore because, if we look at his injuries in years gone by, when he gets a muscle injury, if that's what it is, and we haven't had an update yet, but if it is a muscle injury, that's going to keep him out for probably 2 or 3 weeks at least, and then potentially more. And then once he gets back from recovering from the injury, then you've got that time that you need to kind of build up your body and get fit again. And we know that's important to JOzy Altidore, because he needs to feel right, he needs to feel strong, or else he's going to be at risk of getting injured again. I also think this is just the worst time of year to get injured, right? It's basically still pre-season for Toronto FC. It's that time of year when you're trying to build up a foundation of fitness and strength for the long season ahead, and to have that interrupted by an injury, it just immediately, I think, sets any player back early in the season, and especially one who has been as injury prone as JOzy Altidore. So you hope it's nothing too serious, but it's just the constant setbacks with Altidore that prevent him from getting any kind of momentum, any kind of confidence in his fitness. they're really tough to take. And in a really important season for him, this is the last way that he would have wanted it to start.
I'm gutted for JOzy. By all accounts, he's bought in. He's worked so hard over the course of training camp. And he's a player that dealt with a hamstring injury at the end of last year. And this is the worst type of injury because they can linger. They're tricky. There's no easy solution. And this is a player, you know, and I don't put it all on him, but a track record of injuries. The website Transfer Market on JOzy Altidore lists each and every one of his injuries. Look at this injury list over the last few years alone. Since he joined Toronto FC in 2015, according to Transfer Market, he has suffered 13 injuries. This would be his 14. That is totaled to up for him to miss 411 days. 411 days. That's just a lengthy track record of a player that can't stay on the field. And his most successful season was in 2017 when he was managed well and he was fit and everything ticked over nicely. And guess what? Toronto FC won a championship because of that. But because of this track record of injuries, I think that this has less to do with Altidore and more to do with Toronto FC. They're looking for that designated player. They need another goal scorer in the team. They need more attacking players in the team. Who knows where Alejandro Pozuelo's status is? So without Altidore, Akinola, Osorio, Pozuelo, where are the goals going to come from in this team? I think that this might push the you know, maybe not the panic button, but strike a little bit of urgency within Toronto FC to go out and bring in some fit attacking players that can contribute some goals to this team. Because at the back in the midfield, they look good. Of course, maybe could use another fullback, could maybe use another central defender, but these are top players across the park. They just need players who can stay on the field in attacking positions.
Altidore joining the team 2015, signed that 3-year extension in 2019 as well. So, you know, he always wants to impress out there, but hard to do when you can't be on the pitch due to injury. But we did see a lot of young players. We saw some new faces as well. Gareth, who would you say their stock rose in your eyes and could be in the lineup again next week?
Well, I think that Schaffelberg's made a move where he's going to be a player that can be in the team probably from a starting position on a week-to-week basis from now on. But if we're going to look for players whose stock went up, I'm going to put on my Gareth Gecko hat here. It's going to be one of the old guard. It's going to be Michael Bradley, the captain. How good was he last night? His legs are back. He was a player that dealt with the MCL injury in the season coming out of MLS Cup. Was coming off pretty serious ankle surgery that I think was played down to a certain degree, but he was back to the Bradley best. Getting upfield, pressing, starting attacks, not just sitting back and serving as a shield on top of the back two. I think Bradley is being grossly disrespected by MLS reporters when they come up with their top 5, top 10 central midfield players or top 6. He's never on the list. When it comes to talking to the U.S. men's national team, this guy is never on the list. How do people keep on overlooking Michael Bradley? And I don't think it's people in the Canadian market. I'm looking at you out there, our friends to the south, Americans who have turned their backs on Michael Bradley. You got to recognize the commitment, the talent, how good this player is. And I think that last night, that was a reminder to all those cynics out there how important and how good Michael Bradley actually is, still at the age of 33.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I've been feeling a little sensitive about my age this week. There was a Premier League game at the weekend, Fulham Aston Villa, where for the first time in Premier League history, every starter was younger or was born after the first ever Premier League game in August '92, which means by extension, they were also younger, all younger than me. So as much as there is some young guys, Priso, Schaffelberg, Okello, who did very... As much as there were some young guys who did very well, I am also going to go with my newfound affinity for the veterans, and I'm going to go with Omar Gonzalez. I thought he was excellent. You know, there's a lot of TFC fans who seem to have a centre-back on their shopping list. I'm not sure it's necessary as long as Gonzalez and Mavinga can stay fit. I think the experience that Gonzalez brings, his ability to stay on the field, he's barely missed a game since joining TFC. I think that's really going to be an essential part of this team going forwards. And look, 9 clean sheets in the regular season last year. That was tied for the league best. So I don't think TFC have as many issues at centre-back as maybe has been made out.